really paying attention to and we're live. I wasn't really paying attention to the timer. All of a sudden it hit 0. And as we're going, I might, say hello to someone that just popped in. Don't feel like I'm interrupting. Let me run through everyone that's already in here. Hello, Ellie. Joshua Ricks, welcome in. Nicholas Z, thank you for coming. E-Rock. Joshua Ricks again. Mark Brown, thank you. Russ Young, the man. And a little more people saying hello to each other. But today we've got Rusty from Hometown Beard and Body. He's a super duper new company. I think you said April, May you started up?
Yeah, it was like the end of May, start of June.
Oh, okay. So we're like 2-3 months in.
Yeah, not very far at all.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know I think in Instagram chats you mentioned that you started the way a lot of people do. You can't find something that's really working for you. You start making it, passing it out to your friends. Everyone tells you they love it, and the story starts there, I guess.
Yep. It was basically just how is this stuff made? So I watched some videos, and I had to try it. And I started out with oils, and the stuff I was making for oils I didn't like because I was using a lot of castor oil, which now I know is too thick. You got to have a lot of other stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I had this sticky, thick mess in my beard, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that. Not touching it again. But then I got the itch to try making butters, and it just exploded from there.
Really? Now, but you started off with just the oils, right?
Just the oils, yeah. I was just kind of curious what went into those because it seemed far easier than mixing butters and trying to get those ratios right.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, I love your blend. It's a 6-oil blend: apricot, jojoba, castor, coconut, argan, and vitamin E. I know you mentioned just a moment ago that I guess when you started, you were doing castor up top.
Yeah. It's cheap. And at the time I was working with a very, very limited budget. So I thought, all right, it's cheap. I'll load in the castor oil and I won't go over budget just trying to experiment. And that was a mess. I mean, and because it's oil, it doesn't wash out easy.
Yep.
And it's castor oil, so it's really thick. And I just had this mess in my beard. It smelled great. It was peppermint and like blood orange, so it smelled amazing. But oh my god, it was a mess. Just thick and sticky. And
I'll tell you, the thickest castor company on the market, I like it, but it's the sort of thing where I use it once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week during the winter. So I hear where you're coming from there, but I'm glad to see castor's still in there.
Oh yeah, I like that it thickens it up. So and I like what it does for me. So it had to stay.
Yeah. Now, when you first started, how many cents were you making up? Because for a new company, you've got a lot of cents.
Yeah, that's like my passion is messing with the cents to see what I can come up with. I will sit and just like brainstorm with all of them. But I think I started with about 10. I wanted to make sure I had a pretty solid base to work from. And so I delayed starting the company until I had at least 10.
I took a look at the list, and I thought I counted 13 right now.
Yep.
Sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so far I've tried Grandma's Kitchen, which I absolutely love, and Pina Colada. Yeah, in fact, I love fruit scents, and it looks like a lot of yours are right up my alley as far as those fruity, nice scents. I'm curious. I'm trying to look. Do you have any dark, manly scents?
I do. I've got next month coming out will be Spider Venom. That will be it's grapefruit on top with a base of tobacco, and I think it's musk and sandalwood with it, and that is definitely a manly scent.
I'm sorry, Nicholas C. didn't know which company you're representing. This is Rusty from Hometown Beard and Body, and you can find his, I guess, site on Etsy. You just look up Etsy Hometown Beard and Body, and it'll come right up for you. In fact, I hadn't realized that there were beard companies on Etsy. We were just talking about 607 until 607. And what made you choose Etsy? Just kind of
budget, really. It's just it was easier to do something where it would be easy for people to find me. They've got everything automated. Once hopefully this thing takes off more than it has, I'll be able to budget in for a website of my own and be able to do it all myself. But right now, it's just it's easier on both my wallet and mentally.
I get you. Well, and I thought maybe you mentioned that you talked a lot with Will from 607 when you were starting. He was on Etsy, so I thought that might have something to do with it.
It did. He's kind of the one that talked me into it because of the automation in the background, and he said it was just easier for him. So I figured starting out, if it's easy for him and he's established, then me starting out, it's going to be a whole lot easier than trying to figure out my website and all the tax problem that's going to come with selling off my site.
Yep. And so did he kind of talk you into starting up, or was this something?
It was just talking to him and seeing that passion he had for what he was doing.
Yep.
It really was like, man, I got to see what this is about. And when I did it, it was like, I've really got to do this. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it. It's very zen for me. I could just tune out, forget everything, and just focus on that. And I was like, yeah, if I can make a go of this, even as a hobby, I'm all for it.
Yeah, Phil here is complimenting one of us. Since I grew up with him, I'm gonna
assume it's you.
How's it going, Phil? And now, like I said, you've got a lot of sense for a new company, I think, at least. When I've seen new companies start, a lot of times it's 4 cents, oil only. In fact, I'm trying to remember if you have washes as well.
That's coming.
Yep. In fact, I just lost my way off your site. Yeah. Oh, and you've got combs as well.
Yeah, those are made by Matt Bell from Bell's Woodworking. Yep.
Cool stuff. And at some point, will you have shirts and caps and all that stuff too?
If I ever get to a position where I feel like that might be something people want, but right now things are slow enough where it just seems like it would be a kind of an overkill in my budget.
I hear you. And just trying to keep up with these. I guess they're having a little conversation there. And so now you must have a job on the side.
I'm actually disabled. So,
okay. So you're able to.
Yeah, it's a very limited budget, and I was fortunate enough to be able to even launch and get things going. So
cool. And so far, well, you're just starting out, so there's no way to judge. And hopefully, as more people try it, more people see reviews, more people give it a try. The reviewers get a hold of it. It's there's so many companies out there. I feel for someone like you, just starting out and having to bust out into this packed crowd.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's kind of a blessing though, because I'm not overwhelmed trying to keep up with orders. Gotcha. I'm able to see what my personal speed is without overdoing it, because I've got bone spurs, I've got a fused neck, and I've got narrowing on my spinal cord. So upper body movements can really make things hurt. So I'm able to keep speed and not have to worry about making sure I get a bunch of orders out and having angry customers.
And I wanted to mention that if you do go to Etsy and look up Hometown Beard and Body, if you want to see the scent list, you're going to see above all the pictures of the products in the area where you can hit read more. You hit that, you're going to get their scent list. because I know sometimes on Etsy I have a hard time navigating.
Yeah.
And yeah, I tell you, you've got a lot of scents that are right up my alley. In fact, I'm wondering now, do you have, according to your website, your favorite scent is Pina Colada?
Yep, that's well, it's tied for Grandma's Kitchen. I personally like Grandma's Kitchen a little more, but the Pina Colada is my wife's. Well, it used to be my wife's favorite. I think it's now the Blue Nile, but the Pina Colada is the one that has outsold the rest by far.
Pina Colada?
Yeah.
And in fact, Blue Nile, where gardenia and lotus blossom float on musk, sandalwood, and amber tone notes. Anything with musk in, you got me sold.
That one, it's so unisex that my wife wears the oil as a perfume. So,
got it. Yeah, I've tried talking women into trying oils for their hair, but I'm not sure it's the best advice. Maybe butter would be a better way to go for women's hair. I found a woman with long hair has a hard time getting it evenly dispersed in their hair.
Yeah. Yep. I plan to keep going. My problem is I get an idea and I'm all excited to get going with it. And I'm like, I gotta do it.
Yep.
But yeah, I gotta pace myself, and I know it.
Yeah. And E-Rock has some advice. He says, one advice for Rusty is keep going, but don't overdo it. And what else have we got here? I don't know what Russ is apologizing for, but he's apologized to both you and I. What happened to the man who was hesitant about growing a beard? It grew on him. All right, Ben. Can have the woman speak to Ellie. I think you might have a point there. I don't remember. Ellie, if I remember right, has super long hair. But now, how is this scent list pretty set? Or
yep, yeah, that's my base. Those are the ones that, as long as they sell, are going to be around for as long as the company is around.
Yeah, and as I ask these questions, I'm realizing you've only been open for business for about 3 months. So it's kind of.
But that's what I wanted, was to release the ones that are going to be around forever, as long as they do pretty well.
And Ellie says, yeah, her hair is almost to her butt, and she's ready to cut it. Now, Ellie, I'm pretty sure you use beard oil, but the women I've seen that have tried it have a hard time getting it dispersed evenly. In E-Rock, I think it was Russ that said they should. Someone said, yeah, it was Russ. Have the woman speak to you. So, Ellie, it's time for a YouTube channel, Beard Oil for Women. Now, given that you've been doing this for 3 months, anything really shocked you that you didn't expect, or?
Really, I think it's just the response to a new company starting up and, having a go at it. It's been really supportive, which has been awesome. And there's been a lot of people giving me a lot of great advice. Dagan, for one, Kentucky Bootsman is another. He's the reason there are oils. If it hadn't been for him pushing me towards it, it would have been just Butters. But he's the one that pushed me towards it.
Are you saying Kentucky Beardsman?
Yep.
Oh, Andrew.
Yep.
Okay, cool. You were just going to come out with Butters?
Yeah, that's because I had tried making oils, and you know what a disaster that turned out to be. Yep. So it was like I can't inflict that on somebody else. But then after messing with the Butters, I was like, I think I understand how to make an oil and not make it super thick.
Yeah. Love them labs. Hello. I was kind of confused. I thought, I mean, everybody usually starts out with the oils. So you were going to start a company and sell just butter.
Just the Butters, yeah. That was my plan. I was like, I'm going to specialize in the best butters I can make. That's it. I don't want to do with anything else. But yeah, I've got oils now, and I've got some other stuff I'm working on, getting ready to come out. So
I think Kentucky gave you some great advice.
He did. Things took off after I put the oils up.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I need to use an oil and a butter most of the time if I want it to style it all. And Ellie says she gets her scalp damp and then generously applies. Yeah, I tried applying it to a woman's hair once and she wasn't pleased. She said, I, I left it all clumpy. Oh, love them labs. They're the dogs. So sorry about that, boys. But lost my train of thought. And Russ and Ellie are talking about her here. And what was the last question? I'm sorry. When the dogs went crazy, I just kind of.
I think it was asking about why I was
Oh.
just going to start out with butters.
Oh yeah, that would have been unique. But I think it's great that you were in touch with Kentucky. I don't recall seeing a review by Kentucky.
He hasn't yet. This it was kind of a conversation on one of my posts, and he was giving me the advice, and I was like, I'm so confident in the way that whipped and the poured milk that I was like, I was a little cocky about it. Like, I don't need the oils. He was
Yep.
like, trust me, dude, you have to have the oils or no one's going to buy anything.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, all right, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I admit I was wrong.
In fact, when I got your butter, when I first got it, the whipped butter, it was the most unique sensation I ever got digging into a butter. Unfortunately, it was very warm that week, and I think it was fluffy. It was almost like foamy.
It's kind of how it starts. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just something I had never experienced before. I actually think I could use your whipped butter by itself. It's but I love the oils anyway. So it's yeah. And whenever Love Them Labs comes in, I always let them say him say hello to my boys. In case, and Rusty, you don't know them. This Beans. Okay, eat it. And Frankie, get up here. Good boy. All right. That's your moment in the sun. So, given that it's new, is there anything new coming up? I know you mentioned a scent.
Yeah.
Pulling out.
I've got the new scent coming out. I've got that's one of the Hometown Hero lines. That's the one that some of the profit goes to charity. I've been working with an esthetician. I will have scrubs coming out for exfoliation.
Oh.
So I'm going to have wax melts and candles coming just because, the scent.
In fact, Hometown Heroes, I do recall something. It must have been your own Instagram post about it. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Or were you on a live stream? I'm not
both.
sure. Okay. And percentage of all sales are going to go to
25% of all sales this month will go towards a local mental health wellness center for helping fund their art therapy program, because right now it's all staff funding it. The state's not really backing them in it. And I've taught a couple of the classes there. I used to go to that wellness center, so it's kind of my way to give back.
And True North, what's going on? Nice to see you in. And Phil wants to know where his T-shirt is. He's a buddy that moved to Florida. I gave him one of my sweatshirts, but I guess that doesn't work too well in Florida. And now, as far as the Hometown Heroes, when is that supposed to be coming out?
Oh, that started last month. The first one started last month. It is the Lucky 7, which smells like a brownie batter. But I've added to it for a Lucky 7 expanded edition, which is it smells like a chocolate covered cherry dipped in bourbon.
Wow. So I see that it's listed in the scent list.
Yep.
What I hear, straight up tummy brownie bliss. And you're saying this changed a little bit?
Yep, there's two of them now. There's the original Lucky
Okay.
7, and there's the Lucky 7 Expanded Edition, which is the one that smells like the chocolate covered cherry dipped in bourbon.
Okay, and where do I see that on the scent list, or do I have to go?
It's listed under the Hometown Heroes products. I don't have it on the scent list, which is probably something I should get on. I didn't even think about that when I put it up there. I was so excited when that come out, and it turned out exactly how I wanted it, that I put it on the site without ever thinking about the scent list.
And I'm just wondering how to find it in case
there should be the images of like all the products. There should be some that straight up say Hometown Hero. I think it's the first two on the listings. At least for me, that's what shows up as is the first two or three.
Okay, and then it says expanded edition is brownie batter, wild cherry, warm sugary vanilla, bourbon, wood. Yeah, and I try and describe it because I know when I go to Etsy, sometimes I get a little mixed up. As far as
Etsy's, it can be frustrating to use. Unfortunately,
but once you know where everything is, it's a piece of cake. And what have we got here? And Phil wants a medium T-shirt. Waldemir, what's going on? Thank you for coming in. Let me just catch up here. And so now with the hometown heroes, is that a new scent coming out every month or
every month or every couple of months, depending on what the proceeds are going for? Like this one, I wanted to make sure that I could really help out the wellness center. Gotcha. The next one is actually going to go to help Bearded Ant with his son's surgery costs and his medical fees. So that one will probably be around until at least the end of December.
I thought he was all set now. With the son, with the baseball injury, right?
Nope, he's got a brain tumor.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
That could be. Yeah, he's got a brain tumor that he's got to have surgery on. So this is going to be my way to help out.
And E-Rock wants to know if you've got a cologne scent.
The closest I have to a cologne scent would be the Blue Nile right now.
That's what I was thinking.
Although the Spider Venom comes pretty darn close.
Yeah, the Blue Nile with the musk.
Yep.
And
the Spider Venom comes very, very close. I've got it in now. The guy it's dedicated to, I gave some to him. I gave some to the guys in the New York chapter of the Bearded Rebellion. They're all crazy about it. So.
And I'm trying to find Spider Venom.
That's not out yet. That comes out the first of next month.
But yeah, E-Rock, we've got a gardenia and lotus blossom, which floats on musk, sandalwood, and amber tones and notes. So, and you said that's your wife's favorite.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love the smell of it. It's a great smell. It actually was inspired by some incense that I got. And I was like, I ran out and I really wanted that scent again. So I'm like, I'm just going to make it and then I can have it all day long. But then I found out that it's used, there's perfumes and colognes and everything else in that scent. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm still doing it.
I think the one thing that I'm most jealous of company owners of is just that being able to just sort of, I can't think of the word, experiment with all these different scents.
Yeah, it's fun, but sometimes it's a curse because the worst scent that I ever came up with, in my mind, it worked beautifully. In practice, it came out smelling like cat urine. It was horrible. I remember my wife sitting there going, "What is that smell?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me, and I apologize."
Do you mind sharing what that was? I'm kind of curious.
I can't remember all what was in it, but I know it had cedar in it, and I haven't been able to use cedar since.
Oh, you've got this mental kind of block.
Yeah, exactly. Cedar's going to make it smell like cat urine. I've got to avoid it.
Yeah, I get a kick out of some of the scents that it's taking me time to warm up to. I've just, well, for example, scents that have like a soapy kind of thing to it, they smell good, but they turn me off, kind of thing. And I don't know why. I'll smell it and I say, this smells great, but I can't wear it.
Yeah. I think it's just knowing that it's going to be there all day. I know there's some that I bought. That was my thinking. Is it smells great in the tin, but I don't know if I can have that on my face all day.
Yep. And what else have we got here? Yeah.
I agree it is, but I've got this thing in the back of my mind that like I did it once and I can't remember what I combined it with to get that, and I'm worried I'm going to do it again. It was that strong.
Well, you could always put it up, cat piss as a scent, but
annoy your neighbors.
Yeah. So that's cool that you're already doing basically what's the equivalent of a monthly scent. And when it comes, oh, I forgot to post this on Facebook. How much does it cost to get a website done where you are?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't even looked into it yet because I know if I look into it,
you're going to get sick.
It's going to light that fire, and I'm going to really want it.
Yeah.
And I'm pacing myself.
Yeah.
Like right now, I've been looking into how to make scrubs and soaps, or not scrubs and soaps, but like washes and soaps. And my mind is just like, I got to do it. And I'm like, nope, slow down. I've got 3 other things lined up first.
Yep. So you can't look into it because if you do, you'll be obsessed with getting it done. That's not a bad trait to have if you want to get things done.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to
straight cedar. See, I like cedar. I do. It's a great scent, but so many people use it in so many different things, and like I said, I've had a horrible experience with it once. It's like, do I want to put another cedar out?
Yeah. Now, do you have anything right now with cedar in it?
No,
because
I have cedar, but I haven't put it in.
You're afraid of it for now.
For now, it's like I said, it just seems like so many people have something with cedar in it. And I also like to base my sense on something that's going to spark a memory. And I can't think of anything cedar that would cause that. I'm sure someday I will, but right now, I just, off the top of my head, I can't. Other than like a cedar chest. But then I'd have to figure out how to make a mothball scent to go with it.
And I mean, when I look at your scent list, it's hard for me to, like, just looking at this cool fruit. Apricot, peaches, pomegranate, mango, pineapple, lime, mandarin, oranges, and lemons. I mean, I think I might have even skipped over that one because I might have, when I first saw the name, might have confused it with like a cereal. Like
that's because it smells like it's either Fruit Loops. I can't decide Fruit Loops, Kool-Aid, or like Hi-C fruit punch. It's kind of all of those things.
I mean, it sounds awesome. Apricot, fruit medley.
Yeah, it's definitely a very summer scent.
And you'd say it's somewhere in the middle of all 3 of those.
All of those. I can't put my finger right on it. And I tried really hard to come up with a name for it. I was like, I'm just going to combine Fruit Loops and Kool-Aid.
Yep. Wow. Yeah. And now you mentioned that you're going to start thinking about doing washes and soaps.
Yep, washes for sure. Soaps, I don't know about those. Because of my neck, I don't know if I'll be able to do those as easy, but definitely the washes I'm going to do. Without question, I've got washes coming.
Yep. And Russ Young has...
I will do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, mahogany, that's one of those scents. I'm not really sure what it would be on its own. Yeah, because, of course, even a cedar scent, there's a difference between a cedar oil, essential oil or
Yep.
fragrance oil, and pulling off a piece of a cedar tree and smelling it.
Yep.
No, it's and True
New
North.
York.
New York, upstate.
New York. Way upstate. Yeah.
Way
I'm like
upstate.
5 minutes from Canada.
Oh wow. I spent a little time in upstate New York, and the thing I remember was crystal mining.
Yep.
That's prevalent up there.
No, but I know where you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
There are places where it's done a lot, but it's not around here. It's more down central New York and further south.
Okay, yeah, I can, and it might have been what I considered upstate, but not quite.
Yeah. We New Yorkers are weird that way. We're always like, no, that's not where upstate New York starts. Upstate New York starts.
Now, Jonestown, New York. Does that strike a bell?
Jonestown, New York.
I might not even have that name correct.
There's so many little towns in New York that
where I was,
and you miss it towns.
Where I was, it looked kind of sad. Not a lot of industry, a lot of rundown houses.
And that's where the Hometown Hero scent come from, because this area is the same way. And the stuff's constantly closing down. And I was like, if I'm making enough to keep this going and I've got a little on the side, if I can help somebody out, that's what I want to do.
I hear you. I know where I am. I mean, the nonprofits for a while were in big trouble. Just, women's shelters shutting down. You would think that's one of the last things that would go. Yeah. And True North said, "Great idea, Ken." I wish I knew what the great idea was. Rusty, do you remember a great idea coming out of my mouth? I don't.
I don't know. You may have said something and I missed it.
You know what? If I said something great, I don't recall.
I do that a lot. I'll say something or I'll think something and I'll be like, man, that's a great idea. Then I don't write it down. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, crap.
And now all the nonprofits that are going to get sponsored will be hometown nonprofits or something that will benefit local folks.
It was intended to be local, yeah. But with Bearded Ant, the story, his son's bravery through this whole health scare of his, the tumor and everything, was so inspiring that I'm breaking that rule of keeping it within the area, and I'm going to help his family out as much as I can.
In fact, Aldemir said something earlier that I might have had it right, because I remembered someone with a child having a problem, a baseball injury, and I think Aldemir mentioned that the only reason they found the tumor was because of the injury in the test they did. I thought I was giving Phil one, but if you want one, I've got to get around to. I'm tempted to not get any more made. When I had the made, I don't know if it was 40 or 50 made, and I gave away 30 or 40, and I found myself wearing nothing but my bearded accountant shirts when I go out, which I started feeling kind of ridiculous. 7 days a week wearing the same thing, different color. Yeah, and they were saying that this young child has been super brave through this.
Yeah.
And I mean, within this community we've got, I would say that is local. So
yeah, that's the way I look at it. I mean, and I read the post about how his son was just, he was very optimistic, not just keeping his own spirits up, but his parents' spirits up. And I broke out into tears, and that's when I was like, I'm going to do what I can to help. It might not be much, but it'll be something.
Yeah, it's something else I was wondering. When you do come out with new products, where should people look for that?
Instagram.
You do post whenever something new comes
It'll
out?
be a post, and I'll do a live.
Got it. That must have been when I heard about it. It must have been your live.
Yeah. I like to do the lives that way I can explain it and people can watch it back later and get more than just I can do in a post. Because I know a lot of people aren't going to sit and read a caption.
Now you're telling me something I never knew. I thought when you did a live on Instagram, it
Nope,
it was
you can
done,
save them and you can play them back. Mine are still up there that when I explain new stuff.
you know, and Joshua, I don't think I've got live chat replay for this. I don't think I'm going to remember any of this. Like I was mentioning, I'm kind of afraid to get more made up because then if I end up with 20 for myself, I'm really going to look kind of foolish wearing nothing. And Aldemir says he takes schmedium with extra large arm sleeve. So yeah, that I did not realize whatsoever, Rusty, that your company was that new.
Oh yeah, very very new.
Now, so how many reviews have there been? Is it just Dagan and I, or have
Dagan, you, Denver Beard Reviews did one, and Horror Viking Beards did one.
Denver Beard Reviews? I've never heard of that.
He's pretty new, but he's done quite a few lately. He's constant. It seems like every week he's got a new one coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wonder about these new ones that might be coming out that I just because you know how YouTube is. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I've got so many that I'm subscribed to now that I don't just they don't come up in my feed. They just, come up as notifications. And so I get the feeling I'm missing out on newer people that are coming out. Because I know how tough it is when you start and you've got 12 subscribers and 5 people are watching.
Yeah,
your
that's
video.
pretty much where he was at when he did the review.
Westergram, welcome in. Oh, around that spot. Yeah. And I feel for some, I remember, being thrilled if 14 people watched something, knowing that 10 were family members. And I guess Russ is talking about a game. Yeah, I think Ellie should start a YouTube channel. Now, Ian, by the way, if anyone has any questions for Rusty about Hometown Beard and Body, now would be the time to ask.
Absolutely.
Now, is there anything that we should know about your Etsy page that I might not have mentioned already, or some way to get to some content here that I might not know of? For me, the things to look for were
the scent list the scent list can be hard. That's also where all my updates go. Like if I've got something huge coming out, it'll be there above the scent list.
Okay, yeah. And for those of you that don't know, to get to the scent list, you go to Etsy, Hometown Beard and Body, and above the thumbnails of the products, there's going to be a read more underlined. Click on that, and it'll bring up the scent list.
Which I've definitely got to do a better job of describing my scents. When I did it, I was just trying. I want to get them up there at least as a placeholder, so people can look and see what they all are. So it was just kind of a quick, fun thing. But now that I went back and read it recently, and it was like, ooh, it's kind of cringy, some of it.
I'm trying to. I mean, I kind of like, for example, cherry tobacco. It is what it is. I know there's probably more going on in there that you might want to share.
No, the cherry tobacco is just cherry and tobacco. It was pretty basic.
Yeah. How about sour apple?
That one's just literally, it's just a sour apple. I tried it and it was like, yep, that's good on its own. Doesn't need anything else to go with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it didn't occur to me that, I mean, I know when I saw Lucky 7 and it said Brownie Bliss, I might have, a little bit more of a description, and maybe that's it. Yeah. I do sometimes get a kick out of some of the descriptions where there's a describer for sultry this and exotic that,
Yeah.
and to some extent.
Well, my
Yeah,
problem is
they-
when I was writing the descriptions, it was like, okay, I know what they smell like. So without realizing at the time I was trying to get the list out there that I've really got to convey that to whoever's reading it.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
they don't know.
And what is Ellie saying here? She needs to make new videos. I had no idea Ellie was making videos. That'd be cool to see. And
sorry.
no problem. As you mentioned earlier, today was a little bit of a long day. I'm thrilled that you came on, despite having a long day.
No, I've been looking forward to it since you mentioned it.
And so yeah, and one thing should mention is that if you go to the site, the typo thing, just so someone doesn't get.
I fixed that.
Okay.
I did fix it on the site. I've got so much invested in the labels that I'll have to write in.
Yeah.
Fix that as a 1, but yeah.
I'm trying to get back to the thumbnails, but when I try and back up,
that's another thing I've got to work on is making better thumbnails. And
because
I really want a better videos of like the whipped and how easy that melts.
In fact, when I look at the whipped butter now, it almost looks like it doesn't do it justice.
It's really hard to get that on camera because it just what the camera sees and what you see with your eye on that whip is I don't know. I've tried so many times and it keeps doing the same thing. It makes it look harder and more plasticky than what it actually is.
Yeah, in fact, when I got the whipped butter, I got the feeling that as great as the consistency was, it was a consistency that had survived 100-degree weather, and it was probably even better than what I got, because of the heat, which that's in God's hands. And you said something about take care of family first. Always true. And I'm wondering if there's another Ken that they're talking about here. Yeah, Iraq is saying that something is up to me, not him. So I'm not really sure.
The scent of wet socks.
Wet rocks.
Oh, wet rocks. Oh.
And I'm just searching here, see if there are
wet socks would have been worse.
And yeah, I didn't know if you noticed it, Rusty, but Anthony came in.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So, and True North wants to know if you're upstate, like near Buffalo, or upstate, like closer to Vermont.
Upstate, like closer to the St. Lawrence, right in the middle of the state.
Northern.
Yeah, the St. Lawrence is, if I walk 5 minutes there, I am.
Now, where you are, do you get a lot of wildlife?
Oh, yeah. I'm right in the middle of town, too. It's wild. Literally, I mean, but I was out for a walk last fall, and the deer were coming right out on the road, like, to check me out. And it was a little, like, oh, cool, deer. But then I was like, oh, yeah, they kick people to death.
Or, come through your windshield. Just I got back from Maine a couple days ago, and I was told that there's a bobcat around here. It was sighted about 1.5 miles from my house. We don't get a lot of bobcats, but we get them.
Get cougars around here. Not many, but yeah.
Nicholas, yes, Hometown is on IG. And when he puts out new products,
yeah, Hometown Beard on Instagram.
Yep, puts out a post. But I was just wondering if it was to the point.
Big mosquito too.
where you have to, if you've got a child, you've got to worry about them going outside alone.
In the country, because there's black bears. Like I said, once in a while there'll be a cougar around. Not very often. They're really rare. Really rare you'll spot a wolf, but because they come down out of Canada, sometimes a moose, but it's mostly, things like coyotes, which you got to worry about.
Yeah, for me, we get a number of coyotes around here. I've only seen them dead on the road or a couple in the woods. But I've got 3 dogs, so I guess if they got hungry enough, they might give it a try. But, coyotes are like 50 pounds if they're lucky. So
yeah. Well, out when I lived with my parents, they would come right up around the house in packs. So it was like, okay, I can't let my son out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, since I've got 3 dogs, I used to have a couple of Shih Tzus. Hello, Daniel. And I think that owning them was sort of like, if they went around and peed, it was like an invitation to everybody to come and try and hunt them. For some reason, no more raccoons, no more foxes ever since these guys have been around.
A lot of skunks and opossum. There's been opossum around here quite a bit lately. And I think it's just because people are leaving their garbage out on garbage night. The thing shows up like free food.
Yeah. Like I said, now that I've got 3 dogs leaving their scent all over the place, never see muskrats anymore. Never see raccoons at all. My garbage hasn't been hit in like 4 years. And it surprises me. Raccoons are pretty bold.
Yeah.
You walk up to those suckers, and I remember once I had one hanging about, and I was just kind of peppering it with a BB gun, not trying to hurt it, but just 10 pump on 1 pump.
Yeah.
Just to, let it know, get the hell out of here. And he didn't want to hear it. I had to go to 2 pumps, 3 pumps to back him off. It wasn't hurting him. And wild turkey. Yeah, I've seen 40 or 50 in my backyard. Again, since I've got all the dogs, I saw a flock coming by my house, and intentionally where I have my electric fence for the yard, where the dogs are allowed to go, the turkeys actually walking around that fence themselves. And it must be the scent that my dogs are leaving, saying this isn't a friendly environment for turkey. But yeah, and black bears, I would think, aren't that much of a problem. I mean, they're not especially aggressive.
Well, I mean, when you've got, my son was like 5 at the time, so it was like, I don't want to take that chance because at 5 he's going to be like, oh, cuddly animal, and I just don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, let's go up and pet it. Yeah, and now, how did you get to know Bill's woodworking and get that working?
I actually met through Will, his lives. And we just started talking. I ordered some combs off him. And then he said he had to pull his Etsy down because he wasn't making enough on his combs. And I was like, I could put them up on my shop. You don't even have to worry about any of that stuff. I'll put them up. I'll take the cost of advertising them on my site, whatever. If it helps you out, I'll do it. And so did that. He still sells them on his Instagram. But yeah, it just, that's how that happened.
Yeah.
It's like if you still want them on Etsy, I have no problem hosting them.
Yep. And he does caddies and all kinds of things, right? If I remember right.
He's making all kinds of combs and caddies, and if you can name it, he makes it.
And when you say he sells on Instagram, you're saying contact him and then
and he will he'll get back to you and you can do all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And as far as you know, are you the only one that sells his stuff on your?
As far as I know, I'm the only person that does it.
Yeah, I've never gotten a Bell's woodworking comb. I use a Chicago comb, and with that,
these things they're freaking amazing. I got that one, and then I bought this one, which is an old skateboard deck.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
I don't know what it is about wood, but I just I don't know. I'm so much into the Chicago ones.
I was kind of skeptical about using wood because I was like, man, that's going to snag, but it glides right through.
I didn't want to say it because it's on your site, but that's exactly what.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's going to splinter, it's going to snag, but yeah, I mean, just right through. I've never had it pull, either of them.
So you're saying I should probably think about giving it a shot. And I would imagine you just let it kind of get oiled up, and that reduces.
Yeah, that'll reduce it, but this is pretty dry right now.
And Nicholas C, yes, it's Hometown Beard and Body. And what else have we got? And Mark Brown was answering, I think, for Nicholas C.
Bearded Ant. Yep, he's the next one up for the Hometown Heroes.
And Russ says he loves Bell's wooden pick and that it rocks. It's hard to tell how big this is from the picture. And
cones, I got pretty small hands.
yeah, no, that looks like it'd be a nice pocket comb.
It is. It's perfect. This is one, if I'm going somewhere, I can slide that in my. This one, I use this one a lot more when my beard is wet, just because it's got more coverage.
Yeah, I've had something like this to keep in my pocket, but the Bell's one looks like it'd be a little bit better as far as longer, wider.
Yeah. He's also got a guarantee that if it ever breaks, he'll replace it.
I did see that, and
yeah, I mean those are wide, and they're notched, so it slides right through that notch.
Yeah, I think I saw him on someone's live stream. I forget if it was Bearded Respect or who it was. And what's my point? There was something that he showed during that looked. Oh, I know what it was. He talked about how when he makes his combs, he layers it so that you've got cross grains to make it almost impossible to bust in your pocket. And can I see that one again? Because I'll tell you, this one's got very short. What do you call those things? Tines. Yeah, at their longest point, they're maybe 1.25 inches. So you're saying it might be time. And that one that you just showed us is the same one that's offered on your site for $20.
Yeah, one similar to it. Yep. And that's the thing with these, because of the grain and the materials you use, you're never going to get the same one as somebody else has got. You might get the same materials, but the patterns are always going to be unique.
Different. Yep.
Oh, I can't find it, but it's probably, about 1.25 inches.
Yeah. Well, mine was 1.25 inches at the longest spot. This is the only comb I have like this that's got any kind of wideness to it at all. You know, and with my beard, trying to put anything through it that's not got a wide space. So maybe it's time for me to. And Russ is talking about in what month is it that?
It's starting next month and it'll go till the end of December.
So October, November, December.
Absolutely. This is one of those. It's a big. Well, no, because I wanted to do Toys for Tots in December. So yeah, it'll be the end of November. But that's 2 months is a pretty good time.
Yep. I hate speaking against Toys for Tots, but I can't help myself. My brother was in the Marines, and they would, during the Christmas period, they'd get sent to, volunteer at these different spots. And one of their favorite games to play when they worked at these distribution centers for Toys for Tots was the number of cars people drove in on that were better than theirs. So
Oh, it might not be
Just
Toys
a
for
little.
Tots. It might be like a local church toy
Okay,
fund.
all right. Yeah, just a little
It's
food for
definitely
thought.
going to go towards helping kids in the area.
Yeah. Okay. It just food for thought.
Yeah. Something to think about.
I mean, people driving in with $50,000-$60,000
Yeah.
cars, grabbing toys.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It. My brother had said that it was amazing the number of beautiful cars, that the percentage of people that actually looked like they were struggling that pulled in was minimal. I mean, I know I drive a 10-year-old car, and I've got no choice in it. If I buy a car, I'm driving it until it won't drive anymore. I can't, the only time that's not been the case if I give it away to someone that needs a car, and then, buy a new one. So now we're running up against almost the end of it. I usually knock out at 9 because we've got 2 live streams that start out at 9 o'clock, and I don't like to step on their toes. That's Bearded Respect or Woolly Wizard Beard Oil Roulette. But I'm wondering if anyone has any final questions for Rusty, or if Rusty, there's anything you want to tell us about Hometown Beard and Body that we haven't mentioned yet.
I can't think of anything. I think I've said everything on my lives or here tonight. But anybody thinking that that was a bad way to start what I was about to say. I just want to make it understood that I started this with the intention of creating the Hometown Heroes line so that I could give back to the community. Like I said, right now this is a hobby. It's kind of paying for itself at the moment, and I'm really not making a profit on it, which I'm fine with. If I never make a profit and I'm still able to help, that's all I ask. So, I'm not in it to try and get rich.
Yeah. And one thing I did want to mention, we haven't said it at all yet. Excuse me. The prices are pretty fantastic. Price of a 1-ounce bottle of oil is $15. 2-ounce pour, and tell me if I've got this right, because I think I might have screwed this up. 2-ounce poured butter is $20. 2-ounce whipped butter is $25.
It sounds about right. Yeah, because I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have every night I'm like, man, am I charging too much? Is my stuff worth what I'm charging? So,
well, I mean, the ingredients in the whipped butter are definitely much different than the poured butter. Oh yeah. And when we were talking on our own, you mentioned that the ingredients you're putting in are far more expensive than the ones
that was the plan. It was to have the pour just kind of an everyday, throw it in at the end of the day, kick back and relax. The whipped was that I want something that's going to last me through the day, that's going to protect, do what it's supposed to do for my beard throughout the day, and I'm not going to have to worry about it.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's got the more expensive stuff. That's why it goes in and melts easier.
Yeah, and maybe the way I use butter isn't. Maybe I'm a little off. I basically use butter at night for just to have something in at night, to do a little bit of cross training, have something other than oil. In the poured butters, what I want to wear during the day, because they tend to have more of a hold.
Yep.
Yeah. For the most part, I'm using butter for styling.
I use it because I like the feel of it. Sometimes I'll use the poured because it's thicker, and I'm like, I know I'm going to be out where it's windy, and I want that hold. Whereas sometimes it's like I don't feel like having to mess with everything I have to mess with the poured. The styling it. I just want it to go in. I want it to do what it's got to do, and forget about it.
Yep. And I get a kick out of the poured butter because that initially you might feel like it feels kind of like a bomb, especially having that beeswax in there, but it breaks down so easily that it, kind of, to me, it kind of hits that in between a bomb and a butter,
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's perfect for me to try and style this mess.
I don't like bombs. They're too thick. They feel too thick in my beard. So butters were where I was going, which is why I tried to avoid the beeswax. But I think I've got it right where I want it, and it's probably never going to change from there.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I've got to say, you've got to try Grandma's Kitchen in the whipped butter. The first time I put this on, the scent just kind of exploded on me. That is good. That is just like cooked apple filling from an apple pie.
Real quick, I know we're running out of time, but real quick, you were mentioning that it smelled like candy apples in the oil. I think with yours, what happened was the apple scent actually came out a little quicker than what I was expecting. So it got a little bit more of the apple on it than what the whipped had.
Okay, yeah. And I remembered mentioning that I would get the same scent I get out of the butter, after time. And one time I put it on my cheeks just to help me shave and immediately got it. So there was definitely a difference.
Yeah, that's what happened is that the apple that I use can sometimes come out way quicker than what I expect.
Oh,
so I got to be real careful. And it was one of those days where my neck was bothering my nerves.
Yeah.
So my hand was a little shaky.
When you talk about shaky people, that was one of the things I was the most nervous about when I, not nervous about it, but knew might make me look a little foolish. I've got a familial tremors, which means nothing except for my handshake, and I've got it. My brother's got it, and my father had it too. Just means I'll never be a surgeon beyond that, but when I first started, and I might have been nervous too, I'd put a bottle up and I'd be like a little rattler, but it is a little past 9. And so I want to be respectful to the other live streams. So thank you everyone for coming in. Thank you, especially Rusty, for coming on. And
absolutely.
I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for coming in.